So starting with the trivia question, um, is that where you want me to start?
You start wherever you want to start.
Okay, all right. So the drop in emissions in the European Union since 1990 has been 32.5% almost. So in the past 34 years, the drop of emission has been 32.5. So the question is, how much economic growth has Europe experienced in terms of GDP over the same amount of time? And the hint is it's way more than 33. All right. The hint is it's twice as much as the GDP as the drop of emission. So twice 32 or twice 33 actually.
All right. So
Can I make a
Sarah,
guess?
Sarah put it in her answer in the chat. So
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did somebody already answer?
Oh,
Sarah answered 66%.
Yeah, it's 67 exactly. It's I just this to me is very interesting because there's this sort of um sometimes some people say, if you have economic regulation or have environmental restrictions on activity, then you're going to hurt the economy. Here you have a situation where you have a 32.5% reduction in emissions and 67% increase in economic activity. Um, so green growth, in other words, is possible, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so I just wanted to go over four questions here real quick. Um, and I'm going to skip over a lot because I realize this is a lot of stuff. But like you said, it will the deck itself should be available on your site as well as this recording. So if anybody wants to delve more into anything I say, um, you can look over the deck, and then you can of course always call me as well. Um, I'm sure we can provide my number or an email on the thing. So, why solar is the first question we're going to ask. How does how does it benefit Newton County residents? Why us? Oh wait, I have this twice. I just put that anyway. The second one is I'll go with the second one in just a second. I'm sorry about that. So why solar? You've all seen these things over the past several years. These are the headlines that announce um, that have been announcing the increase in the rates in solar. In fact, since 2019, rates in Georgia on average have gone up about 50%. Your bills are 50% more now. And with they just announced recently the last or the fourth reactor in Vogtle. Um, Everybody, whether you're Georgia Power or you're one of the EMCs, you're going to experience an increase because paying for that Vogtle, the most expensive thing humans have ever built, at 38 billion. Um,
Kaveh, we're having a lot of people say they're not seeing the slides. Have you posted your slides?
I haven't. I thought no, I haven't posted them.
okay.
I mean, are you sharing your slides right now?
I'm sharing my screen. You're not seeing it?
No, we're not seeing your screen. We see you, but we don't see your screen.
Oh, why don't you? Okay.
I'm wondering when you tried to eliminate.
Maybe is this better?
There we go. Perfect. Now we
Oh,
see it.
sorry. Let me see if I can go back. All right. So anyway, that was just the first slide was just just some of the headlines that you may have seen in the local papers, announcing rate increases just right and left and center over the past several years. The Public Service Commission has not been a friend of the ratepayers. And then in addition to the rate increases, there is a $2 billion additional money that Georgia Power requested because of the Ukraine war and the increased price that they had to pay for gas, which again got approved and which again Georgia Power ratepayers are paying for. And the EMCs, I know a lot of people in Newton County are customers of Snapping Shoals. The EMCs follow typically Georgia Power's lead in rate increases. So everything I say about Georgia Power is more or less holds true of all the EMCs. And this trend that utility rates are going to go higher, go up, soar faster than inflation rate is not specific to Georgia. It's nationwide. In fact, it might be even global, right? This isn't going to stop anytime soon. So just playing this little game. While power has gone up, forms of energy all the other forms of energy have gone up since 2010. You see that solar, in fact, has gone down. Solar has been since 2019 the cheapest way to produce. I'm not even talking about clean here, just the cheapest way to produce energy over its lifetime. This is something that some people still don't know, I think. And indeed, it is the future. All projections, because it's the cheapest, you're going to have a lot more production. You see here that in terms of capacity, this year, the light green is how much solar we're going to be producing. It's gone up over the past years, and this year, next year, it's going to even go higher. And this is the same chart in terms of how much actually got produced, how much capacity we had, and actually on the right, it says how much was produced. And both of those numbers have gone up because it's the cheapest form. And it's not the case that Georgia is not amenable to solar. Georgia is a big solar state, and there's a lot of benefits to solar, including about 2,000 deaths that are contributed to dirty energy production. The amount of economic savings that we'll have if we had 100% renewable energy in Georgia. The study in Stanford University estimates that at about $109 million. Globally, air pollution caused by emissions from factories, from plants, as well as cars and other things, is about 8 million people die prematurely because of air pollution. And in fact, Georgia is one of the top-rated solar states. It goes up and down. The last thing I saw was that it's 7th, but it's been 7th, 8th, 9th in that ranking. Now, most of this, mind you, is solar that is owned by the utility companies. It's a solar farm. These are farms. In terms of solar that's installed on homes, we are very low. And our ranking is in the 42 or 3 in terms of how much. So we do have some catching up to do on the rooftop solar, or sometimes called distributed solar. There are benefits to distributed solar that are not shared by these farms. Land usage and so on is one of them, of course. But another big thing is that the solar farms produce a lot of power, but getting that power to where it's needed is one of our major bottlenecks in the energy transition, right? There is more capacity in terms of solar and renewable capacity trying to get onto the grid, applying and trying to be interconnected is the term that people use. Trying to be interconnected, then there's actually energy in the country, right? We have more people more power standing in line to get into the grid than we actually have capacity. So interconnection, upgrading the grid to accommodate all this is very important, is very difficult problem. But one of the solutions is rooftop solar, because rooftop solar is very easy to connect, right? You just put it on your house and it gives you power, and then you interconnect it by changing the meter, and the extra power goes back into the grid to your neighbor's house, perhaps, or wherever it's needed. So one of the solutions to a major problem in the clean energy transition is rooftop solar, because it avoids the transmission lines, it avoids the major bottleneck in the grid. Um, um, and also I just want to sort of point out that right now, in this moment, is perhaps the best. I've been following solar. I bought some solar for my house in 2005. This has never been a better time. The rates, as I mentioned before, have gone up dramatically over the past few years. Different reasons. The war in Ukraine is one. There are other reasons. Um, um, Price of solar, after a little bit of a spike around COVID and after COVID and supply chain problems in 2022 and so on, was up, but now it's started its decline. The so it's never been cheaper. I will talk about price in a second, but when I bought my solar in 2000 solar system in my house in 2005, I paid about $10 for 1 watt of capacity. Last year, we're selling them about $3 for 1 watt of capacity. This year, we're selling it at about $2.50. So it's gone down. I don't think this. If Trump gets in and puts a tariff on everything, that's certainly going to be reversed. He's promised to put a 10% tariff on everything. On solar panels from China, where a lot of this stuff comes from, he's promised to put a lot higher tariff. So if Trump gets elected, it definitely will get reversed. If you don't like inflation, make sure you don't vote for Trump, because his proposals are all inflationary. Um, 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 Especially with clean energy. And so rates are high, rates for power are higher. Solar is the cheapest, and the incentives have never been more generous. The Inflation Reduction Act that was passed in August of 22 has provided it is, I don't know if people know this, it is the single largest government program in the history of this country in terms of dollar amounts adjusted for inflation. It's bigger than Lyndon Johnson's Great Society and FDR's New Deal. So it's very generous. It has a lot of different parts to it, and the solar subsidy is there. Again, we do have an election coming up, and one of the candidates is proposing to reverse that law. Of course, we'll see if Congress will go along, so those three facts: high energy rates, low solar rates, and great incentives make this a opportune time to get solar. So what does that mean for Newton County? I just wanted to sort of start. We're going to go over this really, really fast. Assuming that Newton County residents are like this little microcosm of the U.S. as a whole, we see that solar is very popular. This is a Gallup poll asking which of the different forms of electricity we should favor, and you see that with coal and oil and nuclear and wind, well, not wind, but nuclear, it's even, and some people don't know, some people want more emphasis, but with solar, you have a significantly higher percent of the population in favor of solar. This poll is about 3 years old. The numbers should have improved since then because of the rate, because the urgency of the climate crisis, as well as the rate of power. And that's not, I'm not saying something that is ideologically driven. Pew did a survey, found that 20%, like the Gallup poll I just showed you, similar results. 80%, almost 79% of people want more solar. but breaking it down between Democrats and the Republicans, we see the Republicans, go from 80 to 65% wanting it. Democrats are at 91. So there's a little bit of difference, but still a significant majority of Republicans favor alternative because it's cheaper. I mean, it's just cheaper. It's cheaper, it's cleaner, it's quiet, and people just, see that. So if Newton County is highly Democratic or highly Republican, solar is still something that most people probably want there. Um, Home values are great. I'm going to skip over this slide. How much time have I? When did we? Oh, 8:02. So 20 minutes. Yeah, let me skip over this. Um, this is just a slide about how younger people are even more pro solar than the older generation. Um, this is a slide about um, appraisers. The Appraiser Institute of America. Um, the appraisers have been surveyed, and again, we have a significant number of residential appraisers, 81%, believing that solar will increase home values. This kind of study has been repeated in different ways. Here are three other studies with links in it. So if somebody wants to look through those, the links are there. The first one from Berkeley Lab is a little bit dated. The second one's from Zillow. It showed that homes with solar, it didn't say it sold for more, but it did say sold for quicker. That's the kind of data that Zillow would have. They wouldn't know what it would sell otherwise. But they did say it sells faster by 4%. And then the same study is repeated in the Architectural and Design magazine. All right, so solar is popular. Despite what you might hear here and there, solar is very popular. But what about us? Why us? And again, I will just go through this real quickly because, we are a locally owned company. We've been here since 2018. We have an office right here in downtown Atlanta. And we have all the certifications. NAPSAP is the industry standard certification. We've installed quite a bit so far and have generated even more. We've been named as one of the best solar companies in Georgia 2 years in a row by Forbes magazine. And the interesting thing about that is only two of the companies that are listed alongside with us are not local companies. We take our localness very seriously. And if you answered our service calls, you would see why. People call us, oh, some company, I don't know where they are. They installed my solar. Can you come and fix it? We get those calls, regularly. So we really value the fact that we're local and tout that, very much. So three are local. One of them is out of business, by the way. So there's only two local companies on that list, and we're one of them. The other one is a very good company too. I know it's Alternative Energy Southeast, and they're a superb company. I have nothing to say against them, other than they're usually much more expensive than us. Um, and we do work for Georgia Power. We did their very exciting pilot program, the virtual power plant program. We finished that earlier, like in April, I believe it was. If anybody's interested about what a virtual power plant is, it's the most exciting thing that I can think of. If you want to ask about that during the question and answer, I'd be happy to talk. I talk about it even when people don't ask me. So if you want to ask me, I'll be glad to talk about that. We are also a partner for Hanwha Q Cells, which is the largest solar manufacturing company. They claim in the world, but certainly in the U.S., and it's right here in Dalton, as some of you may know. And so we are the partner. We've done a couple other jobs. we are a part. We actually, this is no longer true. They just went out of business. But we were selected for this German company, Gresenbach, to do integrated solar panels on their homes, but they got a contract with BMW and it fell through and they just left America. So I should take that out. But we were going to do the BMW site in South Carolina. Um, anyway, these are all links for you to check for your other whoever comes to your site to check. These are all links about our reviews. Please, we encourage you to click on these and look at our reviews, or just go and look at our reviews. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that slide didn't work too good, but it was a little picture of our reviews. We have all the certifications and all the qualifications that are nobody beats us in those. Um, um, what about how can we actually help the residents of Newton County? Um, we are we have a lease program that is extremely attractive. It's run. We are the exclusive partner installer for Georgia for the Capital Good Fund, which is running a program called Georgia Bright, which is the first of its kind residential lease program for solar. That means a homeowner is not buying the solar panels; they're leasing the system. Before they install it, they know exactly what their lease payments will be. They know within 10% approximation how much savings they will have. So they are in a completely perfect position to know whether this is a win for them before they sign on. There is no prepayment. I mean, sorry, there is no upfront cost. So when you sign, you don't get charged anything. We come put the panels on when we're done. A month later, you get your first bill, and typically that bill is less than the saving. So you start saving from the very first month without having any of your capital in. Um, uh, the cherry on top is that because it's a lease, all maintenance requirements are the responsibility of the lease owner. So they are, it's a 25-year lease with a 2% escalation every year, which is much lower than the escalation on the power. So every year you can save a little bit more. Um, and we can. The only requirement is that you own your home, A, and B, that your household income is less than $150,000. And then we can come and do it. This is it's never happened in Georgia before. It will happen more because leases are the equipment is getting cheaper and power is getting more expensive. So, but this is the first one, and we're proud to be part of it. We've already done something like 40 homes on this program, and the program runs, I think, till about October or September or something, until the money runs out. This is Capital Good Fund is a nonprofit, and they raised this money to do this, and there's a limit to it. And it's not just for homes. It is also for nonprofits. Um, all nonprofit entities, including nonprofit institutions, as well as government institutions, fire stations, schools, churches, synagogues, what have you, mosques, anything like that that is not a profit-oriented entity is eligible. And we've done I think 6 or 7 churches, or will be doing 6 or 7 churches so far. That's for people who want to lease. That's not the only thing that we can offer. We do have this sort of special that we're running. Um, I don't know if anyone has shopped for solar and looked at the prices. But look at this price, or have your members look at this price, compare it to other people's prices. We are committed to. We're strongly committed to spreading solar as much as possible, and we just really try hard to have the lowest possible price so that we can proliferate the technology as fast as possible. This particular package has 10 kilowatts of solar, which is actually the maximum for most utility companies that you can put on your roof. Now, if you don't have that much room on your roof, or that's not wise given your consumption, we could bring it down, and we have it'll be less than what the price here is. But the package is for 10 kilowatts of solar, and in addition, a 10 kilowatt hour battery, and all of that is for $25,000 after incentives. Sorry, 25,900. And after the incentives, the homeowner will end up $18,130 in the hole. Um, I did a quick comparison of this rate of how much your energy will cost over the life of the system if you were to put it on, versus the Snapping Shoals offering. Snapping Shoals, some of you may know. If you don't, I did put a link here. This is a link to their community solar program, where you pay $20 a month for up to about 125 to about 170 kilowatt per month of solar. You pay $20, so that comes out to about like 13 cents a kilowatt hour. This comes out to about 4 cents a kilowatt hour over the life of its. So it's about a third of what your utility companies. No long. I mean, it's not a wonder they don't like us. We just have the utility companies do not like solar companies, and they make it known. But we offer the same thing, and electrons don't care whether they're made out of fossil fuels or solar. It's the same electron. Everything in your house will work exactly the same. So it's just we're just cheaper. Um, I just threw these couple of things in here. Some people object to solar because they say it doesn't have curb appeal or ruins the aesthetics of the house or the building. This is our office actually, and what I do with this picture is I ask people to identify the ugliest thing in this picture, the least attractive thing in this picture. We could do that here. Some of you are muted, but if you want to unmute and tell me what you think is the ugliest thing in this picture, our office, um, please feel
The power
free.
lines. Power lines.
Lines.
Power lines.
What did you say? Oh, the lines. Yes, yes, the poles in the line, not the immense 20 kilowatt solar system that's on the thing, right? It's just that nobody says that because we're used to seeing it, right? We're just used to it. That's just how things are. There are these ugly things with, all over. Even if you think that solar is ugly, which I don't see that quite, but I'm biased. You will get used to it once it becomes part of the landscape. I mean, it's not uglier than the alternative, which is these lines and these crooked poles and stuff, right? Now, the reputation for solar being ugly comes from these old cells, perhaps in the 70s and 80s, that kind of looked like this. And when you installed them, the house looked like that. That is not what we have these days. That's these slick, black, low profile modules are what we do, and these are examples of our own installs. And you see that I mean, obviously, aesthetics is a little bit of a relative thing, subjective, I should say, thing, but I think it's true. It's not as ugly as people claim. At least that's me. I think that's it. How did I do on time?
Oh, you did great on time.
Did
So
I come into? Oh, I should have perhaps. Are you still seeing my screen?
yes.
How do I? I don't know where to. Oh, here it is. Oh, since I have a little bit more time, can I show you this? Because my wife just sent this to me. This is our home's power bill. I mentioned that I have solar. Are you seeing this?
Yeah. Yep.
So this is our most recent power bill. At our house, we have a 4-bedroom house, 3,000 square feet. This is not just our power bill for the house, it's also our fuel bill because we have 3 electric cars, well, not teenagers anymore, but 2 kids with 2 cars and my wife with another car. 3 cars go, wherever they go, and we eat and we heat our house and we cool our house and we do everything for $18 a month, at least in the month of June. Which was not I don't think a cool month. It was a pretty air conditioner was being used quite heavily. 18. Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see that $18?
That's
Do you have a 10 kilowatt,
that's pretty
a 10
stunning.
kilowatt system?
This is it's a 11 and almost 12 kilowatt system. It was 9 when I first bought it, and then yeah, it's about 12. I'm kind of a geeky kind of guy, so I played around with it. But it's almost 12.
What would your power bill have been without this, roughly? What would you guess?
I haven't had a power bill without this since 2005. So I don't know, but I would imagine. I mean, I could answer that. I could go to my monitoring site, um, see how much I produced, add that to what I bought from Georgia Power, which is about $1,000, 1,000 kilowatts. You see that there, right? Add what I produced, add that to that, multiply it by the rate, and give you your answer. I think it's over probably like close to 500 because we're fully electric, not a small house, 3 cars, and tough month, June, right? High air condition usage and cooking. We cook home all the time, like I don't know, 5-6 meals a week. At night, we don't eat lunch in the house, but every dinner. Um, About I don't know, what's yours? It would probably be around $400 or $500. I probably would use like about 2.5, 3,000 kilowatt hours a month.
And I would also point out that you have the monthly net metering. You're one of the
Yes,
5,000
that's true.
customers who's eligible for that. So that makes a big difference. You're sending a lot of electricity. I think it was more than you use. You
Yeah, I
purchase,
send
you were
1,000
sending back.
Yes, that's true.
And that doesn't count the electricity that you actually use at your house. So
That is absolutely true. Thank you for pointing that out. So it does look a little better than the average person because we do not have net metering now. And this did fall into that net metering thing. Yes, you're absolutely right. I did pay $10 a watt for it though. But
Kaveh,
yeah.
do you think that in the near future, we might have a public service commission that would vote in favor of all people having net metering as an option? So that Georgia Power wouldn't
No.
be able to limit it to just the 5,000?
No, I
Yeah.
don't think that's going to be the thing. So there's 2 ways to answer that. One is the Public Service Commission is. You said this is being recorded, right? So I'll just stop that
Yes.
sentence right there.
Right.
Because I know some of those people. Anyway, I mean, it's not. Nobody. There's no nobody is hiding this. I mean, it's pretty explicit. They do what Georgia Power wants. Georgia Power does what the gas lobby wants. I mean, that's just whatever, right? But there's a more lofty answer to that question, and I don't think net metering is such a great idea. I mean, if my colleagues hear this now, they're going to hate me, or my competitors, I should say. So I pissed off both sides. But net metering is asking the utility company or any company to sell something at the same rate that they buy it at, right? You're telling them to sell and buy at the same price. No business wants to do that. They will fight you. They will crush you. They're more powerful than you are. And don't ask them things that they're not going to do. I mean, let's fight the fights that we think we're going to win. We're not going to win net metering. Stop like pushing. That is not that's just wasted resources, right? The only thing we said, we meaning the environmentalists said against the net metering fight was, you know what, don't do a lot, just do a little bit, like do 3% of your accounts. And they said no. You know, and I hate Georgia Power as much as anybody, but I don't blame them for saying that. There are other solutions. There are other fights we can fight. Let's not waste time on a lost battle. Let's move on. And the thing that I'm mostly excited about is virtual power plants. There are other things we could do, but virtual power plants is definitely one of those things. Permit reform is a much more easily won battle, and it can be fought not at Georgia Power, but at the cities and the counties. Permit reform is if you want to reduce the cost of solar, I mean, our soft costs go up to about 20-25%. If you go to Cobb County, it's even more because those guys are crazy over there. I mean, they're nuts. So that's the kind of fights in Australia, same labor prices, same solar material prices, everything's the same other than the permitting. And they're installing solar at $1.10, $1.15 US dollars a watt. I just told you I'm really excited about 250. So net metering isn't that much. I mean, it's not that great, and it's a losing battle. And let's move on. You get virtual power plants is where we can make money. That is distributed asset owners, people who have solar on their roofs, can make a lot more money, can have much more valuable assets if we get the Public Service Commission, if we get our legislators to approve or to compel them to have virtual power plants. The good thing about virtual power plants is it's in their interest. It serves them, right? I mentioned we did the pilot program for Georgia Power. There are tons of studies that virtual power plants will save utility companies up to 40% on peak power production. And they're doing it. I mean, they're not idiots, obviously. They read the same things I read and you can read. They look at the same studies, and they're doing it. They're just not doing it fast enough because of the brute sort of conservatism that exists. Somebody needs to poke them.
For our viewers, can you give a little bit of an explanation of what a virtual power plant is?
Yes, sorry. Thank you. You should have done this. A virtual power plant is when a utility company, or it could be a third party, an aggregator, somebody comes in and says, all right, I'm going to take, using some software, I'm going to take everybody's solar and battery. Actually, it doesn't even have to have solar, just battery. It could be, when you have a battery in your house, that has power in it. It has energy in it. And if I can take that power, I meaning the utility company, and I can take your neighbor's power and I can add all this up, I can have the same amount of energy that the gas furnace down the street is producing, right? If everybody has batteries and I can take it when I need it, the utility company, when the utility company can take the power when they need it using software, can draw that power, they don't have to run that peaker plant, which is very expensive. Electricity is the only commodity in the world that is produced, marketed, distributed, sold, consumed, all in a sub-second, right? I mean, all that happens in less than a second. Like the energy this electricity that's powering this call was produced like a split second ago, right? So the generation of electricity is not the main problem. We have enough generation. The problem is distribution, right? The problem is um, everybody, we live the same kinds of lives. We use energy in the same pattern. So we all like want to turn on our AC at 2 o'clock. So, there are these peaks. So what the utility company has to do is have immense amount of capacity just standing around doing nothing, just wasted, right? And the number's like 90%, right? Of the time, just standing out. And there's 1 or 2% of time where everybody comes home and turns on their AC or whatever it is they do. Just to meet that peak demand, you have all this capacity sitting around being, if it's a gas plant, it has to be maintained, it has to be oiled, it's not. So a virtual power plant solves that problem. It says, forget the gas plant, I'll go get the power that I need for you, Sarah, from the car or the stationary battery in your neighbor's house. And I will pay that neighbor a little bit over the price, right? Like if I'm selling him power at 15 cents, I'll pay him 20 cents, and the numbers can be worked out. And then I'll sell it to you at 21 cents or whatever it is, right? So the utility company becomes an energy trader between various distributed, and it's all done on your app. And you have an app. The person who's selling power has an app and says, I will sell at this rate. I have this much in my battery. It all gets done by AI, of course, the management of it. That's all been worked out. These things exist in very limited scope in Vermont, in Utah, in Europe. So it's not. I mean, it's not like I'm not talking about ideas that haven't been tested. These are all it hasn't. It's not. We need a huge scale. And the other virtues of virtual power plants is it doesn't need interconnection, right? It doesn't need permitting. It doesn't need all that stuff. It just needs people to sign up and participate and get paid. So now that you're getting paid for that power in your battery or from your car, if it's plugged in, now that battery is more valuable to you, right? So you have more batteries. Now, if the battery, well, why don't I just put a solar thing in there and charge that battery for free? Now you're making money. Now you're a trader of energy, whereas before you were just a consumer. So it's a whole new life. The grid becomes a two-way street where power is going in different ways, as opposed to a one-way street where it comes from the central plant into your home. It's a whole different way of thinking about it. It's the way of the future. Georgia Power is on it. They're doing a 500,000, I think. Yeah. I forget what the number. I forget how many zeros there is, but they're doing another program which will start after next year, end of next year, where they will buy batteries and put it in people's homes. And there are different ways you can do it. You can buy the battery and put it in people's home and then take the power for free. You could just buy the power from somebody who owns the battery and therefore pay for the power. There are different models, there are different things we can do. The pilot program that we did was they gave us 20 batteries and 30 names and said, go put these in these people's homes. And we did that. We put 20 batteries, or 21 actually, batteries in homes, and Georgia Power gets to take that power out of those batteries 8 times in the next year. And they're testing to see if they can do this. And excuse my French, but this testing stuff is just wasting time. What testing? I mean, it's been tested, it's done, we know how to do it. What are you testing? Let's move. I mean, we're going to be testing this for 2 years. In the meantime, PG&E in San Francisco just did a virtual power plant, 8,500 customers, took them 6 months to do it. Compare that with a real power plant that might take 10, compared to the Vogtle, took 10 years. It is also responsive to the urgency of the climate crisis. Virtual power plants are. There's a lot of virtues, and it's a really distributed model as well.
So we are getting close to the time when we want to wrap up. So does anyone have any other questions that they'd like to ask of Kaveh? And if you are not comfortable asking them, if you want to put them in the chat, and I'll relay those questions for you. Nope. See anybody that's right. Okay. Florence Welsh is asking about availability of batteries.
They're available. The supply chain issues that sort of made the news after COVID and so on are all gone. There's no issue with availability. That's not a bottleneck anymore. The bottleneck are this permitting. That's a problem, and of course cost. But
Anyone else with any questions?
you're welcome.
Hold
All
on.
right. Well, you did a great job. So
Yeah.
I'm sure
Thank you.
we'll have more
Thank you
questions.
for having me.
I'm sure we'll have more questions after we get off of the call. And if you would please share with us how you would like for us to promote you, or how you want to get for people to be able to get in touch with you. We just had one more. So Sarah, can you see that phone number in the phone number and email address to put it in the minutes? And maybe Maurice, we can put this the phone number and email address on the website. Maurice, you're
This is
muted.
our office number, by the way. The last one is the office number.
Maurice, you're muted. Do I need to unmute you? You need to unmute yourself.
No, I just said we've been putting their contact information out there all along.
So Rob Levin says the Georgia Power batteries, are they relevant in the city of Covington with the local power supply? So city of Covington is a MEAG power provider.
Are you talking about the batteries? Are you online? Is Rob online?
Yes, Rob.
Oh, Rob, yeah, I'm sorry. Are you talking about the batteries that I was talking about where the Georgia Power gave us for that
Right.
pilot program?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean those are just regular Tesla batteries. So they're compatible with any power system. I mean that's our job. We make it compatible. If you're talking about the program where they give you the battery for free and they get to take power out of it 8 times in 1 year, and then the battery becomes yours forever. No, you don't have that. That was just a pilot program. It ended in April, and it's coming. A bigger version is the guy who did this with me is now doing a bigger one. The scope I'm forgetting. I can't remember if it's 500,000 or 5 million or something dollars they're spending on that. So I don't know if then the EMCs and stuff will take the mantle and run with it. But it is, I think, I mean, I'm a techno optimist and by disposition. So I I do think that it will catch on. It's a win-win all around. So but in terms of the technicality of it, it's all worked out. There's no issue. I mean, the issues are technical and we take care of those, but there's no issue that the customer needs to worry about.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kaveh, and many thanks to those who joined us today.
We
Oh,
had
there's
one
one
last
more question.
question that perhaps how can we get involved in the battery program with Georgia Power? Can we get added to a list?
Yeah. First of all, you have to be Georgia Power customer. And then the old program that I was the very limited one that I was mentioning is finished. The new one is not announced. The parameters are not clear. I'm not sure. I mean, they're still working on it. I'm actually trying to help them by sending different models from different places, but it may not be the same parameters, meaning it may not be such that they give you a free battery and then you get to own it. It may turn out to be that if you own a battery, then they will pay you a certain amount. Now, this is not an unusual concept. A lot of people know about this. For example, utilities since the 70s have been paying people to lower their thermostats during peak consumption. Right? Like if I don't know if we ever had in Georgia, we do have Georgia Power has something like this, but if you agree to lower your temperature, your thermostat, that is by a few degrees, then you get something. You get like $5 or something. I don't know what you get, but so that's also a virtual power plant, right? It's working on the demand side rather than supply side, but it is trying to meet the demand and the supply. That's the problem that electricity has. Demand and supply has to meet because the generation and the consumption are exactly the same time or very close, right? So you always have to bring it into balance. Now you can do that by producing more or consuming less. So a virtual power plant can work either end of that equation.
Thank you again, Kaveh. We really appreciate it, your time tonight, and we may send you some more questions.